18 school shootings so far in 2018 has our campus in high alert, and SBU is taking precaution next Wednesday with an active shooter drill. Upset with the snow in April? It's not too uncommon. We caught up with WGRZ's meteorologist Patrick Hammer about the weather pattern we are experiencing. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Capolino.
And I'm Katie Tersak. Let's get straight to the news on this cloudy but thankfully warm day. A forum was held Thursday in Murphy Auditorium to review the active shooter protocol. Director of Safety and Security Gary Segru and New York State Police Emergency Management Supervisor Thomas Kelly were just a few of the speakers.
In response to recent school shootings across the country, St. Bonaventure hosted a forum on Thursday to address the current procedures in place, as well as discuss the upcoming active shooter drill planned for Wednesday, April 18th.
The last active shooter drill occurred here 7 to 8 years ago, which means our entire student body and many of our staff have not participated in an active shooter drill.
The drill will mock the events that would occur if an actual shooter were to be on campus. The purpose of this is to see what changes can be made to improve the protocol and to familiarize the campus with the emergency procedure. In an event of an active shooter, students and faculty are advised to run, hide, fight, or a combination of all.
This area of Murphy is what emergency responders would refer to as a fatal funnel. A fatal funnel is a place with little to no cover, where an active shooter would have an easy target to shoot many victims.
Someone who displays concerning behavior, such as threatening others with weapons or leaking violent plans, should be reported to authorities immediately.
These warning signs, these things that are known, have to be presented to law enforcement to take action on and do an investigation.
During the event of an active shooter, a whistle will be used to alarm students and faculty, as well as SBU text alerts and a mass email. For SBU-TV, I'm Mariah Moreau.
I'm Roisin Coleman. And I'm Fraser Brian.
If you are in Murphy from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. next Wednesday, the building will be in a lockdown. No one will be allowed to enter or exit the building. If you see police and other emergency response members on campus throughout the day, do not be alarmed.
I traveled to Channel 2 in Buffalo this week to talk to meteorologist Patrick Hammer about the weather pattern this April. You know what they say, April showers bring May flowers. That doesn't seem to be the case this month. WGRZ meteorologist Patrick Hammer reminds us that April has seen snow before.
Can't find a year without at least a trace of snow in April. It snows every April, some more than others. This is unique this year because we've had 8 out of 10 days of April have snow in them. That's rare.
With that being said, gloomy weather does have an effect on people differently.
There is a real need for sunshine. There's a need for light. And day after day of cold and snow, or the lack of the ability to get outside, does take a toll on some people more than others.
Although chilly, Hammer says there's no reason not to be active. Two-year member of the St. Bonaventure's track team, Christian Gravis talks about staying active in the cold.
The weather hasn't affected me running outside, but I mean, it is chilly out here. I haven't ran in shorts too much this spring so far, and the weather has actually canceled a meet that we were supposed to have last weekend. So,
runners like Alex Patton like to stay fit by staying indoors.
You've been running in the Richter. It's been so cold outside. Just stay active.
Surprisingly, the weather's going to be very nice this weekend. Take a walk or two, and don't let this April weather stop you from being outdoors. Reporting for SBU-TV, I'm Maya Capolino. Doesn't seem like it now, Katie, that the weather's looking too great for this weekend.
Nope, we can only hope that it actually stays somewhat decent, hopefully. This week I deliver you part 2 in the 3-series report regarding the poverty in Cattaraugus County. This week I found that with 62 counties in New York State, Cattaraugus is one of the top 10 with the highest percentage of the population living in poverty. According to the 2018 New York Annual Poverty Report, about 17.46% of people living in Cattaraugus County have income levels that put them below the national poverty line. After talking more to our community, residents expressed they want more access to fresh vegetables, transportation, and an improvement to local parks. Now, you'll hear from local CEOs who are mentoring local students on the value of entrepreneurship in our community. John Stitt, the CEO of K-Bar Knives and Olean, says his company strives in giving back to our community, especially through education.
We do everything possible to put those kids in the right positions. Half of it is businesses having the opportunities. The other half of it is kids seizing the opportunities. It's just not going to be given to you.
The CEO of Sol Epoxy and Olean, Jeff Belt, says the economic future of our county is ultimately determined by our youth. As older people retire, the demand for younger leadership grows. In speaking with 2 local students involved in the Cattaraugus County YA program that gives them a chance to start their own business through the help of local entrepreneurs, Anderson Phillips from Portville doesn't necessarily see himself coming back to Cattaraugus County, but intends to give back in some way.
I want to come back and help as far as starting a theater program here and better facilities for theater and help do things that I wasn't able to do when I was a kid around here.
As for Jacob Theodore, he says,
I would love to help the city because the city's really cool. It's getting a lot better and downtown's looking a lot nicer.
Katie Tursek, SBU-TV. Belt says in August 2018, our community can expect a farmer's market built in downtown Olean. Next week, I'll be bringing you more details on what that project entails and what other transparent economic changes will be made in our community.
As the Trump administration continues to debate on how to respond to the latest suspected chemical weapon attack by the Syrian government, President Donald Trump says the military strike may not come as soon as originally expected. Omar Jimenez has the very latest on how the U.S. is responding to last weekend's suspected chemical attack in Syria. Just a warning, some images might be disturbing to viewers.
We're having a number of meetings today. We'll see what happens.
No decision yet on Syria, despite President Trump tweeting Wednesday that missiles are coming. Defense Secretary James Mattis says the administration's goal is not to engage in a Syrian civil war, but any use of chemical weapons changes the dynamic.
Some things are simply inexcusable, beyond the pale, and in the worst interest of not just the Chemical Weapons Convention, but of civilization itself.
And complicating any sort of military strike are the fact-finding teams from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, expected to start work on the ground there Saturday.
We will facilitate the arrival of the team to anywhere they want in Douma.
According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 500 patients were presented to health facilities exhibiting signs and symptoms consistent with exposure to toxic chemicals. The video shows the suffering aftermath of men, women, and children.
I cannot tell you that we had evidence, even though we certainly had a lot of media and social media indicators that either chlorine or sarin were used.
Meanwhile, the Russians continue to deny an attack ever happened, with its Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying, "We regard the World Health Organization statement as irresponsible proliferation of unreliable and unsubstantiated information that could provoke new aggressive actions," hinting at larger implications.
On a strategic level, it's how do we keep this from escalating out of control.
In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
France and the United Kingdom have expressed interest in joining the United States in any military strike on Syria. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad warns the West to stay out of the way.
The HBO movie Paterno premiered last weekend. The movie portrays Joe Paterno and Penn State amidst the child abuse scandal of Jerry Sandusky. SBU-TV's Ben Solnick talked to St. Bonaventure alumnus Sean Cullen, who appeared in the movie.
You need to step down. You need to resign before somebody does it for you.
1983 St. Bonaventure alum Sean Cullen appeared in the new HBO movie Paterno. I asked Cullen about his role as the consultant to the Paterno family following reports of Jerry Sandusky.
Coaching them like how to deal with the press as they believe he's going to. Here's this, this outsider who comes and tells the coach in front of his family that he has to resign.
When speaking with Cullen, he discussed what he learned most about Joe Paterno's involvement with the case of Jerry Sandusky after doing this movie.
Willing to ignore and put aside, for the sake of the football team and for his place with the football team and his identification and with it and his place in the world.
When Paterno got fired, there was an uproar in the community as students rioted in the streets. I spoke with Penn State fan about what he thinks of Penn State football following the events that unfolded.
Anger towards the Penn State community and that they didn't handle it the right way. But overall, the football team, in my opinion, of Joe Pa kind of stayed the same.
Penn State's community and football team still lives with a connection to the crimes of Jerry Sandusky and what remains of Joe Paterno's legacy. I'm Ben Solnick, SBU-TV.
You can watch Colin in the movie as it is available for stream on HBO Go.
3 students came forward Monday to claim responsibility for thousands of dollars in damages caused to Laughlin Hall over the weekend. SBU-TV's Bryce Spadafora has more.
Between the hours of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Sunday morning, 3 students worked together to cause over $10,000 worth of damage to Laughlin Hall. In this video posted to the Twitter account Barstool Bana Sunday evening, you can see the students throwing furniture from the window of the second-floor lounge. Director of Safety and Security Gary Segru confirmed it was this video, along with building ID scanners, that helped lead to identifying the culprits.
With card access these days in several of the dorms, we're able to kind of pinpoint who was coming in and out of the dorms in the very late, early morning hours of Sunday.
Key cards and Twitter videos weren't the only thing that helped Segru identify the students. He says he was also helped by this, the university's Silent Witness program.
The program allows students to anonymously report crimes on St. Bonaventure's campus.
There were 5 reports sent to me, and 2 reports identified correctly the individuals involved, and 1 report had 1 person's name wrong.
In a statement released to the university Monday morning, Segru offered the students a chance to turn themselves in before the police got involved. By 5 o'clock, Segru notified the university that the students had turned themselves in.
So what will happen to the 3 students involved? Well, I met up with Rob DeFazio this week. He's the interim executive director for residential living and conduct here on campus. He told me he'll meet with the students to go over the facts of the case, give them a chance to explain their side of the story, and then determine a punishment suitable for the students.
Bryce Spadafora, SBU-TV.
DeFazio said the university is working to replace the furniture from the lounge. He said it should be fully stocked by the fall semester.
Facebook's founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg testified on Capitol Hill this week. He addressed how the social networking site mishandled the data of tens of millions of users. CNN's Karen Kaifa gives us a closer look at this week's hearing.
It's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm.
Round 2 for Mark Zuckerberg.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. It was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
Now facing House lawmakers, following up on many of the questions the Senate asked yesterday about how Facebook got into a crisis of confidence and a political controversy, and seeking more than just an apology.
Mr. Zuckerberg, you talked about how positive and optimistic you are, and I guess I'm sorry because I'm not. I don't have much faith in corporate America.
A big focus, the 2016 election and improper access to the data of as many as 87 million Facebook users by Cambridge Analytica, a political data firm connected to the Trump campaign.
After we were slow to identify the Russian information operations in 2016, this has become a top priority for our company to prevent that from ever happening again.
Facebook found out about the misuse in 2015, but didn't start notifying those users until this week. Zuckerberg revealing his own data was exposed as well, and promising lawmakers a more proactive approach to security. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Although users' data was taken by Cambridge Analytica, Zuckerberg wants to assure users they own all of their own data.
Last week, SBU-TV's Robert Barberi and Matt Williams informed us about the meth outbreak in Cattaraugus County. This past weekend, they've been in contact with local police and Oling General Hospital to see if they could offer additional information on the matter. However, they never got back to us. What we do know is that since police have cracked down on the sale and production of heroin, the market for methamphetamine has grown within the 6 past months. Police are responding to all and any complaints related to incidents.
This past weekend, local volunteers donned hard hats and outdoor gear to help clean up around campus. Members from Bonna Responds volunteered to clean up Bob's Woods after the long winter. Group leader Jim Mahar says they are the ones who keep the trail clean year-long with the SBU-TV maintenance department. He says there was a lot of damage to the to the trees after this year's heavy snows and high winds. Student Mary Ann Turosi explains why she explains it's important to keep the woods clean.
I usually go to Bob's Woods when I'm stressed, because I go out there to just kind of get away from the noise of dorms or the library.
Especially for students like her who use the woods for photography.
A lot of trees fell onto the trails, so it was a little more difficult to wander around certain areas. And for kids that utilize it a lot, I think it's a good thing to keep the trails clean.
Mahar says they will need a few more days to clean up the fallen trees. Then during the summer, they will focus on cleaning the trails so students can easily run or bike. Thanks for staying with us this morning. I'm Katie Tursek.
And I'm Maya Capolino. Have a safe weekend.